Gee, how are you? Good to see you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Lou Simpleman. I've had the pleasure over the years to be involved in Trinidad Community Foundation, Mount Carmel, work with Jay and some other, all the other great people in town and people away from town. I've been asked to introduce, first of all, to welcome you, and then introduce some special people that are here. So I'm gonna try to make it fast. I know you all know why you're here. You're here for several reasons if you haven't figured it out. The first is to welcome Marilyn and Lonnie Sheldon and their beautiful loan, I should say. I won't say gift because they're not. But Babe Ruth's car, and you're going to have an opportunity to see the car of one of America's greatest idols. Somebody who's held records for years and years without being on steroids. So we all look back at that, and we thank Marilyn and Lonnie for sharing that with our community. Marilyn and Lonnie are part-time members of our community, so if you get a chance, please come up after during the introduce yourself, and they're not newcomers. They've been here 9 years, I believe it is. So, want to thank the media for coming and covering this great occasion. It's great to see the crowd of people that are here that love baseball. The other thing right here is that there's going to be an announcement on something new, a vision of what can come to Trinidad, will come to Trinidad in the future, and that'll occur later on. But the real reason we're all here is because something special is happening, and we're all going to be part of it, everybody in this room and everybody in this community. I do want to acknowledge some of the aficionados, baseball aficionados, and I hope that I don't forget anybody. I probably will, but if you'll take my apology up front, and for that it was not intentional, it was unintentional, but you're all special guests, but there are some people who deserve special acknowledgement. If you read the newspaper sometime in the last week or so, you saw that once again Trinidad had somebody elected to a Hall of Fame. And Joe, you're shaking your head, but Joe Sakimano, former coach of the Trinidad High School, baseball aficionado. I'm old enough that I remember when Joe was this big and his dad was pitching the softball, and his father was probably, well, he was the best softball pitcher in Colorado, the entire state, even at the national level. The guy was a super athlete, and he did that for years and years. Chris Faria is there. He was Joe's assistant for years, and is now the head of the Miners Baseball Alumni Club Association. We have Dr. Chuck Bowen from Trinidad State Junior College, who is everywhere there's something good happening in Trinidad, Dr. Bowen will be there. He's joined from other members of TSJC here in support of the project. Rich Holden, Athletic Director, Rich is here. Matt Torres, TSJC Baseball Coach. Matt, we expect some good things this year, so we're all, Trinidad's a big baseball town, if you haven't realized that yet. We've got a history here. JD Dratty, manager of the Trinidad Triggers. Where's JD? Here. JD has just moved to Colorado Springs, so he's close. Dean Duran, baseball coach, scout, and fan. Where's Dean? Is he here? Here. Dean, I understand you're still scouting for the Baltimore Orioles?
No more.
No more? Okay, well, if you have any contact, Paul Cordova is still available. Now, Paul, you graduated in 48? 49, so,
47.
okay. But Paul claims he can still hit Goose Gossage's fastball, so I don't know. Randy Gradishar, where's Randy? Denver Bronco, football great. We have every member of City Council here, beginning with Mayor Bernadette Gonzalez, Franklin Shue, Joe Bonato, Carol Bowden, Anthony McKay, Michelle Miles, and Linda Velasquez. So we're thankful for City and their support. Leanne Fabic from the county, our new county administrator. Leanne, congratulations. And believe it or not, she and Mr. Tom Baker, our city manager, are over there talking. It's not a novel idea, but they're talking. And they assure me they will be talking more. So that's good. That's good. And that's what all of this is about, bringing all of us together. We have some special guests from the Small Business Development Office of Economic Development, and I believe they're from Pueblo, Bill Keithley and Carolyn Trank. And finally, last but not least, we have Larry Carnes from the school board. And Larry, thank you for coming. And Larry is one of those people that's there. We have multiple members of the Trinidad Community Foundation board is here as well. We in the foundation have, you know, our we have 5 areas that we focused on. Health and wellness, education, recreation, communication, and historical preservation. Now, our involvement varies because some we support, others we're actively out there in front leading the charge. But underlying all of this is economic development. So not only do we want to bring good things to the city, but we also want to bring the economic good things to the city. And speaking of economics, the Chamber of Commerce represented by Cheryl Clark from Blackjacks. Again, we have everybody from the city, the county, representation here for something big, something great. So I said I was going to make it short, and I am. And I want to turn it over to Mr. Carl Gabrielson. And Carl's going to tell you all about what's going on.
Thank you so much, Lou.
Criticized for taking too much time.
Yeah, Lou doesn't know what keeping it short is. Never has, never will. Well, welcome so much to the official unveiling of a new development project in downtown Trinidad, La Puerta de Colorado, a mixed-use development at the intersection of Commercial Street and I-25. A project the scope of which Southern Colorado has not seen in many years. One that partners envision breathing new life into Trinidad's downtown by providing an anchor and catalyst for the area's development, or redevelopment. The project is in its preliminary stages, but is likely to include a hotel, Goose Gossage restaurant, brewery, and baseball training center, several retail opportunities, movie theater, health, recreation, and sporting areas, and at its core, a car museum to house an impressive car collection featuring Babe Ruth's last known car, the Yankee Blue 1948 Lincoln Continental that the Sheldons were so generous to bring here today. If I may, I'd like to introduce Mayor Baca Gonzalez so she can say a few words.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today to celebrate the announcement of a new and significant development for our community called La Puerta de Colorado. On behalf of our community, I first want to thank Mr. Jay Cimino, Lonnie and Marilyn Shelton, and Richard Michael Gossage for their visionary and civic-minded leadership in bringing this exciting new project to Trinidad, Colorado. Thank you for giving your hearts, your time, and your resources to help economic development in our beautiful community. I'm also pleased that my colleagues on the Trinidad City Council are here participating today. And I would also like to recognize our city manager, Mr. Tom Aker. The City Council is pleased to have this opportunity to share with you its proclamation recognizing today, January 21st, as the Lonnie and Marilyn Shelton Babe Ruth Car Day. If I may, I will now read the proclamation. Whereas Lonnie and Marilyn Shelton, avid baseball fans and car collectors, have graciously thought to bring to the city of Trinidad a tourist and public relations opportunity that will showcase the last vehicle owned by the famous late, great Babe Ruth, a 1948 Lincoln Continental presented to Babe Ruth by Ford Motor Company in 1948 as a measure of its appreciation for his tireless devotion to Little Leaguers and baseball. And whereas Lonnie and Marilyn Shelton, since purchasing this iconic treasure, have used it as a tool to raise funds for a nonprofit organization that benefit children. And whereas the Trinidad Community Foundation supports the vision of featuring Babe Ruth's 1948 Lincoln Continental, which will draw tourists to the area to enjoy all of the attractions of the city of Trinidad. And whereas this event and the positive, civic-minded efforts of Lonnie and Marilyn Shelton, with the support of the Trinidad Community Foundation, link the great all-American sport of baseball with wholesome family entertainment values for the benefit of children, and continue the giving spirit by sharing with this community an attraction to garner locals and tourists. Now, therefore, I, Bernadette Baca Gonzalez, Mayor of the City of Trinidad, Colorado, do hereby proclaim today, January 21st, 2013, as Lonnie and Marilyn Shelton Babe Ruth Car Day in the city of Trinidad, Colorado, in sincere gratitude and appreciation to Lonnie and Marilyn Shelton and to the Trinidad Community Foundation for sponsoring this event for the betterment of our community and its citizens. Thank you, and God bless each of you for making this a wonderful day for our community. Thank you. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Tom Aker, and this is Exhibit A, which is the proclamation. Mr. Shelton and Marilyn, may I ask you to accept this? With the sincere gratitude and appreciation of the City of Trinidad.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. And then Mr. Ager, your time to shine.
Thank you, Mayor. This is indeed a wonderful day in the city of Trinidad. This project, and I want to thank the founding partners, Jay, and your partners on this, for bringing this to the city of Trinidad. I first became aware of this project actually the day after I interviewed as interim city manager. And as a part of what I've seen in this community is folks working together to make this community greater and to continue to improve this community. And this is one of those projects that will be that catalyst that I think will continue, and we can capitalize on that momentum as a community to continue to grow Trinidad and to make it the great city that it is. So thank you, and I look forward on behalf of staff of working with you to make this project a reality.
Thank you, Tom, and Mayor Baca-Gonzalez. At this time, I'd like to introduce Bruce Barr, project architect, the man that actually puts onto paper the dreams and visions of this team.
Thank you, Carl. As Tom said, my name is Bruce Barr, and with Art Klein Construction in Colorado Springs. I as well would like to thank Jay and Emily Cimino for bringing us into the project to be part of this exciting transition that we see happening. We got started in this probably in the fall of last year, and Jay came to us and said, you know, we've got this vision, and we need, you know, Trinidad has got so much inherent beauty. It's the gateway to Colorado. We've got to find a way to start taking advantage and to bring people into the city so that they can appreciate it. We've sat down really since October till just a couple days ago, and what you see is the result of that on paper. So the theme became one of cars, Sheldon's car collection, baseball, because of the car behind me. We brought Goose Gossage in, and kids, again because of the embedded need that the Sheldons have and want to try to help reach out and support the kids. We took those three elements and we created it into a ballpark type of a theme. So the basis of the theme of the design, in essence, was a ballpark, with the Goose Gossage Training Center being at the focal point of the center, and all of the activities that surround this on the outside. The grandstands are all of the business and retail events that we're hoping will support this. What we've got is drawn over here is the initial phase one of an overall concept plan. Is 11 acres of redevelopment of the lower downtown area. What we've got happening in here again is we've got the center feature of the baseball training field. That's a core activity that supports the auto and the baseball type of activities, and then the Goose Gossage Brew Hub. So what we've done is we've taken that hub and we've seen, all right, now what else can we use that will support and complement and be a good partner to these. So we brought in a sporting goods store. So we've got the sporting goods store here and a gift shop. And then we've also brought in a three studio theater, each with about 60 seat capacity. And then one of the last elements we brought in was the motel. So we've now got the phase one of the motel is the original block here. It's about 22 rooms. And then we've got phase two of a motel, which will support up to 80 rooms at the end of that phase two. So that we're bringing, when we bring people to all these activities and they spend the night, that we can support everything within the development. Along with that, the purple is some of the, again, miscellaneous retail opportunities that Carl was talking about, that we're still looking for partners in and figuring out ways how we're going to bring those in. Again, we're in early stages of this, but we really see a lot of excitement and a lot of energy and a lot of different uses that can happen indoor as well as outdoor. One of the visions that we talked about was the ability to bring other types of events to the event plaza. That's the outdoor space, what we're calling it here. So the idea is that it's bringing people to Colorado. It may be, you know, there's a local car show that happens in Colorado Springs, a Good Guys car show, that we can get that to come down here, bring all those cars from whatever area it is to come down here, have these people spend the weekend, infuse the city of Trinidad with all the activities and needs that those people come down here. You know, the sporting goods store supports, you know, the hunting and the fishing and all the activities that happen in the recreation here. And so we're really just reaching out and trying to make this an overall multi-use property that we expect to, you know, it's going to take some time to bring it up out of the ground, but we've got it pared down to where we think we've got a good blended use that all complement each other. So other than that, I don't have a whole lot else to say. That's kind of the vision in a nutshell. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Steve Block, the Times Independent. When do you hope to start work on the project? And what is your expected time of completion? And how much is it going to cost?
A lot of questions. We have not put together a budget yet. We know we are still in the preliminary stages. We're still acquiring proposals for the different reports. We've got some cleanup to do on the railroad property and some floodplain analysis to do. So whenever we're dealing with the federal level of government, it's hard to determine how long those time frames are going to take. So at this point, I really hate to give you any cost. One, the costs don't exist, and two, the time frame. All I can say is that we've been charged to move forward, and we're moving forward with the land development basically as fast as the government will allow us to proceed. Okay, Carl.
Bruce, thank you so much. And there will be opportunities for questions at the end of this for all of the people involved. At this time, I'd like to introduce Howard Lackey, president of the Trinidad Community Foundation, project supporter, and generally all-around good guy.
Thanks. One little sidelight business-wise here. I've got directives from Mr. Cimino that we're locking the door so nobody can get out until we get at least 6 contracts today. All right, so as president of Trinidad Community Foundation for the 3rd time, it has been quite a trip. You know, starting from a group of people that just had a really good idea where Trinidad should be, but they had no idea how to get there. So as you can see, we are at a point now we know how to get there. But one thing I'm going to add to this thing, I think it sounds better, La Puerta de Trinidad, on the way to Colorado, because this is going to be a portal to reinvigorated Trinidad, Colorado. We all know what we've got, what's here, the history, all the folks that have worked forever to make this town the town that it could be. And with visions like this, and with the help of the Trinidad Community Foundation and with everybody else in the community, there isn't any bounds that this town cannot jump over. One of the things I think is going to be really interesting about this is, and some of you are aware and some of you aren't, that as they're working with the government on this part, we're developing this part of the river, which will be ready for another 3/4 of a mile of fishery by the end of March, first part of April. It just goes to show that if a community gets a few ideas out there and a few people that are willing to work at it, there's a lot of things that you can do. For years and years and years, the Purgatory River was a repository for beer cans and spare tires. Now it's turning into a very, very good fishery. We had our first year this summer, extremely popular, lots of people coming off the road for it. It's something that I think is going to really benefit, and it's a perfect fit for what Jay and the group have got to do here, except that the sporting goods shop better have a really good fly department. Otherwise, there's going to be some issues. Along with that, I think we can look at displaying Trinidad's history, displaying Trinidad's art culture, the art community that we've got and are developing in this community. So as a pedestal, forward-thinking, outside the box, I think we've got a tremendous, tremendous opportunity to make this town everything it can be. Jay, Emily, thanks very much. Carl?
Thank you, Howard. And from here, I'd like to move on and introduce Lonnie and Marilyn Shelton, the current owners, kind of caretakers of the infamous Babe Ruth car.
Thank you, Carl. I like that. I liked his introduction better. Here was he? He said something about all-around good guy. I like that. That sounds pretty cool. But I like the introduction, Carl, that says caretakers. I like that, and I didn't know that was coming. But you know, we're all just caretakers. That's all we are. Every one of us. I've shared with many of you in the last few days as we've been here that we're on a spaceship that's going around the earth. I mean, it's going around the sun right now. And we all have opportunities to do things with people and for people. And unfortunately, we struggle with what to do. I have never believed that things happen by accident. There is no such thing. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason. And the opportunity to bring Babe Ruth's car to Trinidad revolves around so many things. My wife and I have been associated with Trinidad only on a casual basis for about 9 years. We were introduced to the area because of work. And every one of us need to know what work is about, don't we? We need to know work. Yeah. Well, we did a little work up in this area and just fell in love with the area. And as we've been involved in the area on a casual basis for these years, we've been privileged to meet certain people that have a heart that we like. I like that. I like the heart. It pumps the lifeblood. It gives us the ability to exist. And the care for that heart is sometimes abused in some ways. And the opportunity that we have now to bring the car and let Trinidad, Colorado be the home of Babe Ruth's last car. I can't think of an area, honestly, I can't think of an area, as I've learned more about the history of Trinidad and the coal mining towns and the things that went on during that time. And Mr. Cimino's dad brings the first baseball team to Southern Colorado here. And right behind his house is the baseball diamond his dad built. And when I was talking to Mr. Cimino back, sometime back, I shared with him about the car. And Jay, I've never actually seen you cry, but I think I heard you cry. I think there's a tear coming out. I could hear it through the telephone. There is a passion in this man, and I'm privileged to call him a friend. I haven't known him as long as many of you have. But there is a passion because he represents to me, in some ways, the same thing that man right there represented. That man represented a phenomenal ability to play baseball. All of us know that. His accomplishments are great. And when I get a chance to share about the car, I actually share 3 things. I want you to know about the car. It's cool. It's a cool car. I had a lady in Raton the other day ask me which one of the Beatles it belonged to. I hated to break her heart, but it didn't belong to John Lennon. It did not belong to John Lennon. The thing about it was, this man is not just a baseball player either. His accomplishments in baseball, phenomenal, phenomenal. This kid was an orphan. He was an orphan. Okay, and we're going to love to be sharing more of that with all of you, because it's history. It's not a storybook, it's history. He was a real guy, a real guy. But the more important part for me to share when we get a chance to talk is who he was as a humanitarian. And honestly, we need more humanitarians on this spaceship that's going around the sun. And that complement of being a humanitarian is getting spread fewer and fewer. We don't have as many of those there might have been in days past. But the opportunity to meet Jay and Emily and many others of you here, I don't know, our home is in Pampa, Texas, east of Amarillo, but there could be something on the horizon. We may find ourselves here a whole lot more often, okay? And I thank you for that. Thank you.
you're making us feel quite at home, honestly, and I appreciate that. I appreciate it very much. Jay, Babe Ruth had a lot of famous sayings. He really did. A lot of things that even I've had some people share with me here this morning, things that they knew of that were famous sayings by Babe Ruth. One of them was, never let the fear of striking out get in your way. And he's talking about going to the batter's box. And sometimes when you're sitting in the dugout, that batter's box is a pretty scary spot. Because every eye in the stadium is on you. It's looking right at you. Well, Babe Ruth said that, and he was referring to baseball. But I think Babe Ruth was referring to something much deeper than baseball, too. Because I think he was referring to life. And I've learned a lot of things about Babe Ruth in reference to life. And I've got something here I want to give Jay and Emily just a minute. Because it does represent that. Babe Ruth knocked his 60th home run in this picture. And there is a plaque here, the J down there at the bottom, it says Babe Ruth. Never let the fear of striking out get in your way. And Jay, I've nicknamed you Jay the Babe. I'd like to release that to you. I want to jump to something else just a moment, and then I'm going to cut it shorter. I have a passion for old cars because old cars represent a cool time in most of our history. I bet you right now if I could get everybody in this room to volunteer to share me a story about an old car, maybe your first car, you'd be willing to do so. You get behind this podium and you'd share it. Because old cars have a unique section in their life that is phenomenal, phenomenal. I can be at a car show with anybody and have 50 different people there, and every one of them different walks of life, different political views, whatever, and we all come together. Everybody has a good time. They love to talk about old cars. So the opportunity too that this community presents to us to bring a car collection of ours, it's been part of a passion of mine and my wife also. You know guys, I married way over my head. I did. And I want anybody in this room, this is on TV, I want you to know that out there in USA, okay? This lady is somebody who I cherish, okay? I cherish her. And, but we love and appreciate the opportunity to be able to bring something that's been a lot of fun in our lives, to bring to Trinidad and let people enjoy it. I think people coming around I-25, if they know about it, they're going to stop and visit with us a little bit, and we want that to happen. So as we get this opportunity to move forward in all this, we just want to say thank you. Thank you, Trinidad, Colorado. And those of you that are working hard to make your community better, thank you for being visionary. Thank you. We need more people like you. God bless each of you. Would you like to speak? Now that's a rarity. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that great story. And if we can, moving on to one of the La Puerta de Colorado's founding partners, Ray Duran, President and CEO of Duran Oil Corporation. Ray, if you'd like to come up and say a few words.
Well, I guess I better bring my wife up here, Christina Duran. Come on up. She's probably better known to everybody in this room than I am because of all the projects and activities and organizations that she belongs to. And, you know, the thing is, I was born and raised and living in Trinidad, and more people know her than probably know me. And she's a great person to meet and know. I didn't really plan on being up here today or speaking at all, and Jay kind of, you know, he's a very persuasive man, I found that out. And he told me, oh, just a couple minutes, don't worry about it. And then when I got here, it was like, oh, you're taking Goose Gossage's place. So I thought instead of hearing about Major League Baseball and the Hall of Fame, you guys would want to hear about my days that I played Little League Baseball. But then I figured that probably wasn't a good idea. But you know, in listening to all of these special people speak, I brought to mind some special people that I care about. You know, my mom Lydia and my dad. Sorry. And my dad, JR. And what I want you guys to know is, and I'll try to make it really quick, is that my mom and dad went to Spain years and years ago on a trip. And when my dad came back, he told me, he says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a memorial to the boys that left Las Animas and Huerfano counties that went to fight in the Korean War and didn't come home. And I thought, gee, Dad, that's pretty good. And he went to explain it and describe exactly what it was going to look like. It's going to be about this tall. It's going to be like black marble. It's going to have their names, the picture of the drawing of Korea. And then as soon as he finished that, he turns around and tells me, and another thing, he says, those communities back in Spain, they used to make memorials to the people that were instrumental in making their communities what they were. And so he says, so I'm going to also do one to the coal miners of Las Animas County. And I was like, gee, Dad, that's pretty good. And then he went on to explain it. Oh, it's going to be, I'm going to get 3 retired miners to get them to put on their old work clothes and get all their equipment. And I'm going to get a coal cart, and I'm like, wow. And then he says, and it's going to be life-size. And I was like, geez, that's pretty good, Dad. And then he goes, and it's going to be bronze. And I told him, Dad, I said, do you have any idea how much this is going to cost? And my dad, being a very simple man, just said, you know, I know it's going to cost a lot, but we have a lot of time and we're going to get it done. So as we all know, you know, along with a lot of other people's help, there's the Korean War Memorial down at the Welcome Center, and there's the Coal Miners Memorial in downtown Trinidad. So I guess the thing I'm trying to say is, my mom and dad showed me that this might be a big project, it might be an expensive project, but you know what? Trinidad's been here a long time, and we're going to have plenty of time to bring something about. You know, another thing I wanted to say is that, you know, I want to thank my wife, Christina, because I'm not the easiest guy to get along with sometimes. And my kids, I have my son Brett, my daughters Chelsea, Bethany, Chanel, and Kylie Ray. And so I got to give them a lot of credit for putting up, you know, with all the, is it okay to say crap? Sometimes I put them through a lot of crap with some of my stuff. But I think the most important thing in looking at these drawings and looking at and listening to these people speak, you know, they're passionate about what they do. And you know, we're going to work really hard. And it's kind of strange or ironic that how this thing is kind of playing out, because my dad, when he first came back from the army, after being shot in the head, can you imagine? My dad was shot in the head in Korea. He came back home and he went to TSJC and he went through the auto mechanics. And so he did that. And this project, and with Lonnie and Marilyn's wonderful, wonderful gift that they're giving to this city. It's mechanic related, it's auto related. And I think that for so long a time, Trinidad, as far as it relates to the state of Colorado, has always seemed like it's always been in the back seat. And you know what, with this project here, we're going to move Trinidad to the front seat.
That's good.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ray. The beauty of that, listening to Ray and Christina and Lonnie and Marilyn tell their stories, is you can see it's so much more than a development project. It's so much more than a fantastic and wonderful car collection. It's about the passion, it's about the stories, the history behind it, and the redevelopment, what we can do for Trinidad in this area. And on that note, certainly someone that has never let the fear of striking out get in his way. We have Jay Cimino, President and CEO of Phil Long Dealerships, La Puerta de Colorado Development Project founder, and once again, an all-around good guy.
There you go.
Well, welcome. Thanks. Wow, I'm so impressed with how many people are here to show up today. I had mentioned to Michelle earlier when it was like 5 after 10, there were only about a half a dozen people here. I thought, wow, we're not going to have anybody. But look, thank you very much. We so much appreciate you being here. Carl, I learned to strike out. I learned to strike out. The reason I have no fear is I grew up right behind a baseball field, and I struck out all the time. I could tell some stories, but we don't have time for those. I don't know. I know a correct way of pronouncing it, but my way would be Puerta de Colorado. It represents, or will represent, the renaissance of the city of Trinidad. A new beginning. A new beginning. You see, many people will question it. We challenge it. We think about it all the time. And then one of the questions that I was asked by Goose Gossage when we were talking about it, he says, can the city support this? And I said, no, I don't think the city entirely can support this. But when you tie the city, along with about, 2.5 million people that drive down the interstate, you tie that together, 2.5 million people that drive through the interstate. And if you could just stop 10% of those people, just 10%, and I think we'll do better than that. If we stop 10%, that will bring an additional $125 million into this economy.
Not jump change.
That's right. And it's not manufacturing. When you're in the manufacturing business, a lot of that money goes outside, just like in this beautiful dealership. The money that you pay for a new car, a big part of that goes, to Toyota, manufacturing. But in this industry, what we're talking about, it will all stay in Trinidad. It represents services, and that means too, when you talk about that, you're really talking about employing some people. Because services do require people, and we require the very best people. Because you see, in this new complex, it will be the experience that will make the difference. I want you to know too, it will not replace ranching or farming or businesses or anything that we're doing here. Mining will not replace any of that. As a matter of fact, it will enhance everything. The key to all of this is that everybody wins. And if you have a plan that does that, the chances are it's going to happen. For example, if I were on Main Street and I had a little business there, I might be concerned a bit that this would draw people from Main Street. No, that's not true. What we're going to do is we're going to tie the I-25 corridor, what is that, the 15? The exit, is that it? Exit 15? We'll tie exit 15 and into the complex, into that area, but we will have, if you can see, if you'll notice here, you'll see that there will be there may be some sort of a trolley, whether it be rubberized or on wheels, that will take you all the way around the city. And I already saw something yesterday. Where are you at, Ray? I want that, Ray. Not for me, for this. They've got a little truck there that you can put, what, about a dozen kids?
Little one.
Little one. And it's a little truck. It's a mini truck. And it looks like a tanker. It looks like a tanker, right? Like Exxon, or I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, right.
Looks more like Duran Oil Company to me.
It says Duran Oil Company, and on this tanker, every one of the stations is going to be listed there. But that little tanker, we hope, will take kids around the area. So we're going to have some fun with children. No, that's this complex here. The other one, the one we're talking about, that uses the railroad bridge, that will be another major link to downtown Trinidad. And you can see, if you look at it closely to the map, you'll see how the bridge, how you come over to the bridge, and the bridge then takes you to some sort of a railroad. We haven't determined what that will be, but it takes you all around to a hotel, convention center, retail, all kinds of things. So we really, our idea is to tie and make sure that this whole town is enhanced. There's no losers. We want everybody to win, including certainly downtown. Our vision will include, for our visitors, to see some of the rarest American cars ever seen. Now there'll be the cars we're referring to will not be 30s or 20s or 30s. They'll be mostly muscle cars, but they're really rare muscle cars, including the Babe Ruth car, including baseball clinics. Our plan is to have baseball clinics led by a Hall of Famer, Goose Gossage. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but Goose Gossage is a native of Colorado. And another thing, we just touched on it, baseball does teach life's lessons. And Goose's passion isn't just the clinics to help children, although that's a primary thing of his. He also will teach in this clinic some of the lessons he learned in baseball that helps him through life. You know, a Hall of Famer, for example, in baseball, may hit 300 home runs, or 300, but he has to strike out like 600. So he fails a lot more times than he ever succeeds, and yet they're Hall of Famers. The complex will include an event center. It'll host a variety of events, including arts and crafts, gun shows, home and garden shows, boat shows, RVs, and of course auto shows, and much, much more. That's the complex that you see right here. And I think Carl was the one where someone said that this is built like a baseball field. Actually, it is, in that the activities, events that will be going on inside there. And so it's designed to be recreational. It's designed so that people who stop there, unlike any other museum, if you've ever been to a museum, been there once, maybe 10 years later you see it again, that's not this one. This will have events that'll give you experience that you'll want to come back time and time again. So it's designed to have fun. Wouldn't that be kind of neat for a town like Trinidad to have one complex that's designed to have fun? When completed, it'll have a 50-room, Bruce tells me 80. Is that what you said, 80? 80 room. Yeah. You just increased it to 30.
With phase 2, yes.
My, how'd you do that?
Went up.
Went up some. So when complete, it'll have an 80-room hotel, about an 80-car display. It'll have a Goose Gossage microbrewery and restaurant, a sports store, fishing clinics, a theater, gift shop, event center, and a schedule of events every week. La Puerta de Colorado will make Trinidad a destination place for not only Colorado residents, but from New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma as well, and other parts of the world. We think that we can reach much, much further than just even the western states here. The downtown business will be revived with restaurants and arts and crafts, ice cream parlors. In other words, it will come alive when done. That's our vision. I don't know, how many of you have ever been to Green Bay? Anybody? Yeah. Anybody here at the Green Bay Packers? I was there last fall, and I was really impressed with what I saw in Green Bay. Green Bay is a town, when the Packers were founded, it was a town of 31,000 people. 31,000 people. So a little bit bigger than Trinidad. And it started with meat packers. We're talking about hardworking people that actually begin to buy in on, and it started by just providing a jersey for the Green Bay Packers. What came out of that, as you well know, is a team that has 15 championships. And of all the stadiums I've been to, and I have been to a lot of them, not all of them, but of all the stadiums, football stadiums I've been to, that one I love the most. And the reason I love that one the most, not because the football field itself or inside the stadium is any better or any worse. It's the people and what the people and what the city did outside the stadium. If you haven't been there, it's almost like a church in itself. And if you walk up to people who live in Green Bay, they're all so proud to be cheeseheads. I never talked to one person that I asked for their card. It's kind of like an owner's card. Like I own the Green Bay Packers. Everyone had one. Everybody had this little card that made them an owner of the Green Bay Packers. Los Angeles does not have a team. How many people live in Los Angeles and they don't have a team, and Green Bay does? Now their town is now 105,000, but at the time it was only 30. I want to close by stating that this complex, we will make it with your help and with your support, a beautiful complex. It will have the heart and the soul of Trinidad. It will be, in some respects, like Green Bay. We would love for everyone, every citizen to take some ownership of it, because it really will belong to the city. I believe, I grew up in a little town called Trinidad. You all know the town. But when I grew up in this town, it was called the City of Champions. That's how I knew it, the City of Champions. And I believe very, very strong that this city can become the City of Champions once again. How do you all feel about it? Thank you very much. If there's any questions that we may try to answer for you, we're here to try to answer. So all the people who were up here, Carl and Howard, anybody that's got any questions, we're here to try to answer them. Okay, first question.
This isn't a question. This is actually, this is a few announcements that we'd like to make before we take questions. And Jay brought up a wonderful reference here, and that's the City of Champions. Jay has certainly championed this city through its many causes. You're all familiar with Mount Carmel. What a fantastic, just over-the-top job that Jay and the Trinidad Community Foundation have done on that project. But we'd also like to take this opportunity, and Jay's not aware of this at all, so we're putting him in the hot seat a little bit here, which we all appreciate, to thank Jay for some of his community efforts. Jay just received, or rather will receive this on March 21st, the American Red Cross Humanitarian Award for dedication and service above and beyond for the Waldo Canyon fire and other philanthropic efforts. It was also just announced that the Colorado Auto Dealers Association that Jay is going to be the Colorado Dealer of the Year. And on a much bigger stage, on a national level, Jay has been nominated for the Dealer of Distinction Award and the National Time Magazine Dealer of the Year Award, to be announced February 9th in Florida at the NADA conference. So, I mean, just a small example, these awards that he's won, and the naming of a place near and dear to me, kind of the start of the redevelopment of downtown Cimino Park. Kind of our first step in developing. The community did that one. We all did that one as a community. So, you know, at this time we'd like to open it up for questions. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Anthony? Surprisingly, I have nothing to say.
I don't believe it.
Okay, what kind of cars? Tell me more about the cars.
Lonnie, this one's all yours.
Well, let me tell you this. Whoa, a lot there. Let me tell you this. I actually grew up in a bunch of places. Okay, I kind of call an area south of Portales, New Mexico, and the Texas Panhandle as home. All right. It was quite rare for me, honestly, to see anything but a Mustang or a Chevelle. Okay. Well, I had Mopar money running through my veins. So I'm a Dodge Chrysler Plymouth guy, and have been for years. When my wife and I met, I was driving a 1969 Dodge Super Bee. Does anybody here even know what that is? Oh, I'd like to see those hands go up. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, I've had a passion for a lot of years. I've got cars I've had for over 30 years. Okay, so I've got a lot of Plymouth stuff, GTX, Roadrunner, Superbirds, those kinds of cars. I've got a Hemi Cuda. Those are all kind of cool cars, without a doubt. We were looking last night online, Carl and I was. If anybody's interested, there's the first Hemi Cuda that was built in 1970 is actually for sale right now. It's only what, $3,200,000 for it? Is that right? Carl said he's going to put in a bid on that. But I love those cars. But I have a passion for the other cars too, the other muscle cars, the Chevelles, the Mustangs, the Oldsmobiles. Those were cars that set a unique time in America's history. For the first time, you got automobiles, manufacturers that are trying to market cars to somebody other than moms and pops. Hey, they're looking at these teenage guys. Hey, there's a whole new market there. And there were some things come out of that because of the uniqueness of a new market that said, we're going to call this a muscle car. Whoa, I'm liking the sound of that myself, although I don't have much of that anymore. But the thing about it is, those cars still represent a great, great time in our history. And so a lot of those cars that I have do fall in that category, or that we have, honestly, we have. So those cars are pretty unique cars. We're looking forward to that. There are some pretty rare cars in that collection. And I want you to understand too, I'm going to have some cars there, but Mr. Cimino has some cool cars too. And we're excited about getting those cars in public view. Cars bring people together, folks. And when you bring people together, there's a source of revenue there that's generated that we want to let Trinidad get the opportunity to tap into. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Cars do bring people together, and it's a great group that's gathered here today. We appreciate your time. Any other questions, comments?
What's the vision for the brewery?
Well, as you know, we're in the very preliminary stages. Right now, it's some line drawings on the paper. It is to be housed in the original, it was a depot, it was a Santa Fe.
Which question?
The brewery. What's the plans for the brewery?
That'll be the Goose Gossage microbrewery and restaurant.
Right, and Goose has committed to bring down some of his collection that we can house in there, it will be a brewery within the old, and it was a freight terminal. It was a freight terminal, the Santa Fe freight terminal. terminal. Any other questions or comments? Please.
Jay, will you save me a couple spots for some art cars?
Would I do what?
Save me some spaces for some art cars?
Oh, absolutely, Rodney. Absolutely. We'll have some of those cars there. Well, I could tell you one thing, the special event thing, this is absolutely natural for that.
Speaking of that, I know that the car collection is approximately, the current car collection is that Lonnie and Marilyn have is about 60 cars deep, is that correct? 60 plus, and growing it sounds like.
Question, the first stage, do you have an estimate of how many square feet?
It's very flexible at this point in time. We know we'd like to add some retail space as much as we think the project can support without taking away from the downtown area. So areas like that, specific questions will really be in flux throughout this project. Anyone that's seen Mount Carmel knows that Jay likes to design on the go and by the seat of his pants, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of changes coming up ahead. Anyone that's seen the project also knows what a fantastic outcome they ultimately have.
How is this going to be financed?
Well, it's a coincidence you asked, because I noticed you have a hat on, so we'd like you to start passing the hat for us, if you would. As with all development projects, there'll be many partners, and I'm assuming some commercial investment banks involved. Any other questions? Well, please stick around. They're bringing in some refreshments for us, and right after that, we'll also be going down to the site at the end of Commercial Street to tour it if anyone's interested. So we'll show you all around. Thank you all for coming. Yes?
Frank, one thing about everything we've done here that nobody realizes, that Kevin, Klein, Mark, all of us, that, everybody thinks all the money will be out of Springs, the workers and all that. But Jay's employed a lot of us and everything from Mount Carmel, which he's going to do here, which is really going to give all of us the help. We want to thank Kevin, Klein, Jay, Mark, and all of us, because we're still all a team. So,
absolutely.
Big one to Jay.
Yeah, the key to this project is about. I mean, Jay said this from day one. Is about doing things to help support the local community. This is not, as he said, this is not Jay looking for a late life career, another career. It's how we can help the community.
Frank, I don't know if that answered the question, but the reality here is that for a long time, Emily and I, for what, 15, 20 years or so, have always talked and thought about what could be done to enhance downtown Trinidad. It's beautiful. I mean, there's not many cities, towns like ours that have brick streets. There's not many towns like this that have beautiful buildings. There's not a lot of towns like this have the history that Trinidad's got. And yet what we saw in the last 15, 20 years, we saw that kind of eroding away. And I remember when Walmart, right here, next door neighbor here, when Walmart was going to build, or they were on the north side. And I remember, I think at the time Joe Riordan was mayor, I'm not sure. But I had heard that Walmart was going to move here up on the hill here. And I thought, gee, why not go downtown? Why not build downtown where we're talking about? Where we're talking about, so that it really improves the downtown area. Well, that didn't happen. So I think that down deep, with everything else that goes on in life, that down deep we always had a passion for, if there was any way possible to be able to enhance the city, downtown city, we sure wanted to do it. And for example, one right now, a good friend of mine, Chuck Murphy, some of you know Chuck, he's out the museum, he's a Colorado Springs resident. But Chuck is involved in helping, trying to figure out how to save the Opera Hotel, the old Opera, the old hospital. So it's kind of like Downtown is the real key to everything here. So if this, this project we're talking about is designed not just for what we're talking about, but it's designed to enhance all of the city. That's why if you look at it closely, you'll see how the road system gets you from, actually gets you from Interstate 25 all the way to Elm Street. It gets you, yeah, all the way down to it. So we think that we get enough support, and yeah, you're right. The question of financing, Paul, we don't have all the answers. We just have a great vision and great determination. The point is that it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of imagination. It's going to take a lot of people who are outside this town that want to invest in this town. And we do know some of them. They're not committed to us, but we know some of those people. So we're going to try to get outside investors. We're going to try to get people like, okay, I'll give you an example. Dick's Sporting Goods. Wouldn't that be kind of neat to have a Dick's Sporting Goods store here? Something like, and we're going to do what we can to take a great asset, the town and the interstate, and the new ramp, and do something really unique. That's the plan. That's the plan. Anybody else? And you know what? Okay, one last thing, and no guarantees. My guarantee to you is as long as I live and breathe, we will make every effort to make this really successful. That's my guarantee to you.
Sure. I just want to say thank you, Jay, on behalf of, I know a lot of people in the downtown area. This will be a wonderful project for us. It'll be a shot of some life that is most needed down there. It doesn't scare me a bit. It just makes my future look brighter as a business owner. So
well, absolutely. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Cheryl. One thing that we didn't touch on, I thought it was going to be a 50-room hotel. My good friend Bruce says 80. But I want you to just think about it. Even if people are coming in over the weekend and there's 60 rooms being used up, and they're taking advantage of our fantastic history, how many people will be utilizing Trinidad, downtown Trinidad, using your restaurant, going to ice cream parlors and the like? People that will find it very enchanting to be in the city. It's amazing. The people who don't live here see it, sometimes more than people who live here. Isn't that right? We find a lot of people who drive by Trinidad or have been there and say, what a beautiful little town you've got. But have you stopped? No, we just drove by. How about, this will we can get people to stop and spend a weekend now with us. We can become a destination point. Yes. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Thank you.
Hey, thank you all for coming, and please help yourself. Myself are going to give you a quick walking tour of the property. So at any time, if you have any questions, just shout it out. Really informal, but Bruce is going to lead the way here.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out on this tour a little bit. So I think the important points of bearing to remember and refer to this as the Cooey building, and then obviously this is Duran Oil. So the physical addition that starts with an attachment to the Duran Oil that it comes up and then it does a 90-degree turn and it ties into the Cooey building. So basically everything that attaches from here to the end of the Cooey building becomes the motel. Motel, hotel, synonymous. What happens in those spaces is where the theaters comes into the back. The center of the space, the entryway, is actually that central area back over there. The space that exists between the Cooey building and the old railroad depot is the outdoor field and the outdoor plaza. So the portion of the old depot will be torn down and reconstructed. Some of it has been determined unsafe. So some of that stuff that was scabbed on will need to be reconstructed so that it's safe to occupy and with cars in it. And then a good portion of the car museum is going to happen in the Durant warehouse that's over in here. So basically the limits of the project are the back of that building and the Durant Oil, and then the Sanders building that are over there. And then when we can walk forward, I can show you where the Gossage Brew Pub and bar restaurant will be. And then again, all the space that exists between these stays open space.
Okay, so Bruce is the Cooey building is going to stay and get renovated?
Correct. Structurally repaired and renovated, absolutely.
None of the buildings will be torn down.
Okay, thanks, Carl.
I mean, there may be small sections that we have to do extensive renovations to, but nothing will be torn down.
We have some pretty significant structural repairs that need to happen. When you walk around the Cooey building, you'll see there's some cracks and there's some other things that need to be repaired to make it safe for occupancy.
And right behind you, I can't, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that it's the Purgatory River, and the project that Howard Lackey has been spearheading now for what, 4 years?
About 5 now.
5 years. Just a fantastic project. We hope he continues it along.
That's where it starts. Actually, where the diversion point is right there. Our next phase I talked about this morning starts there, goes all the way down about 3/4 of a mile to a mile to Linden. So we're going to have all that structure in there, and hopefully we'll have all the Russian olive eradicated by this summer, so that it goes back to the bosque, the original cottonwood. Bruce, that's a new term we learned today. And you might as well tell them about the city project for the Boulevard Edition, the 90 acres on the west side of I-25. It's going to be a nature park, hiking trails and everything. So that's going to be tying into the Riverwalk, which is right here. So this, you can park here and you can spend 3 or 4 days in Trinidad and do whatever you want to do.
So the Riverwalk will actually go all the way to the other side of the freeway?
It already does. It already does.
Oh.
Hiking, biking, fishing, nature. We've got, in fact, we've got an expert birder that is working with us on that. He said there's 14 species of birds that you find in this neck of the woods you don't find anyplace else in Colorado.
That 90 acres will actually come up right behind where the Best Western is, where they closed off the exit there. It'll actually abut right there. Part of that 90 acres
Central
will come all
Park
the way around there.
Yeah, so it's a whole other
Next to the lake. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's right on the other side of the river here. So we're also, as part of this project, going to be putting a pedestrian connection, which is the railroad trestle bridge that you can just see on the other side there. The partnership required that, and we're going to build. The discussion is a pedestrian connection from this area over to both downtown and the Riverwalk.
Yep, perfect.
Bruce, can I say one thing just a second? Because most of you folks here are from here, right? You're pretty well right? Okay. I'm not. My first occasion, I just started talking to Howard about this. My first occasion to talk to Jay Cimino, we were at a car show here. And I think what I want to say is relevant, or I keep my mouth shut. But Jay, we started talking cars a little bit, and then he said, what are y'all doing after the car show? I said, well, we're going to eat. It's actually my wife's birthday, and we're going to eat at Reno's down here and eat some good Italian food and sing a song with them or something. And so we did, and then after that he said, okay, well, can you meet me? And he gave me this address. And we pulled up right down there. And I'm thinking,
He's an ex-murderer, that's all.
You ain't got any chainsaws in your hand, do you? I get out of the car, and he says, what do you think about this place? I said, what about it? I'm honest with you. I'm telling you the truth here. He said, can you visualize this as a car museum? And, okay. And here's what I said to him. I said, what do we knock all of this stuff down and start with the land? That's what I said. And then he said,
He got a little quiet.
Yeah, he got quiet. And he said, could y'all come to our house for breakfast in the morning? Hey, I'm Baptist, guys. I'll eat anything. I'll eat at anybody's house. I never turn down a meal. Well, we had breakfast with him the next morning, and what he wanted to do, he wanted to show me some pictures of Mount Carmel, okay? Before and after. And you know what? Then we went over there. And I said, I know where this man's headed. This, you don't know, you don't tear this down. You don't tear this down. That building right there, 1916 or something like that. There's history here. We don't tear down history, we add to it. We make it where people can enjoy it. And after spending some time with Jay and Carl and these guys that are part of all this, folks, this can happen. I mean, I can see the expertise and the heart that was poured into Mount Carmel into this event right here. And it can happen. And I told Marilyn, my wife, as we were coming down the interstate, I said, that exit right there that says Commercial Street, that's going to be a real popular exit eventually.
Yep.
It's going to be popular. Said enough.
Thank you, Lonnie.
Okay, well, why don't we head on back here. This is the 53 Flavors Ice Cream. There you go. This is the outdoor plaza. So the theme here that we've talked about is going back in history. So we're going to try to refinish all of the architecture that's going to happen in here in the 1945 style. Jay wants it that when you come through that plaza, that opening between here, and you see a little practice field that will be built up in that open space there with the sun shining. And when you come in and you walk into this space, that's going to have the feel of a 1945 town. So he wants a walk back in history is something that he's really thought deep and hard about, and that this can really be a unique architectural design feature that will help add some additional character again to the project. So again, we've got the car museum that will be partially there, and in most of the portion of this building, the brick building on the end is where the Goose Gossage brew pub and restaurant will be. And then we've got an amphitheater. You'll see there's a road that goes around the inside. That road is intended to be kind of a parade path, that if you're having car shows or vendors, it's a place for people and activities to set up. But we've also got an amphitheater set up here that takes advantage of the raised platform. So if we have other outdoor activities happening, we've already got a natural stage. So again, all the buildings will be brought back to their original historic level, refurbished, and we're going to make sure that they're all safe to occupy, because a lot of these buildings have been empty for quite a while. So we can head down towards the end here, and I can explain. They would store things, but it was moving. So both Cooney and Costas later bought this building, and they had moving company where they would store stuff. Cooney operated in Italy, probably the 50s, early 50s to late 60s, early 70s.
Now, Lou, is there any truth to this? We looked at this building when we first came to town, thinking of buying. And we were told that during World War II, it was a manufacturing company for parachutes for the war.
I think it was, Carol, but I don't know.
Okay, well, I never knew whether it was true or whether someone just made that up. But that would precede the 50s.
Yes. Oh, no, they existed before that. It was just a GUI company, or the moving company, a freight company. You had two good-looking daughters, by the way.
You never noticed, did you?
Wait, no, I think the age of this building is 1906. That building was in 1906. Cuyes.
Oh.
Cuyes. You're seeing wooden army footlocker.
So what was it, Ray? Footlockers?
They were making army footlockers, is what I understand.
I got one. Two.
Yeah, I bet you do. So folks, right in here, if you look straight across towards downtown, you'll see that's where the diversion dam is. So this is kind of the area where we have set up the atrium entry that walks straight in on here, because we're also making a path across the parking lot over to the diversion dam. It's also our intent to try to expand that diversion dam into a pedestrian walkway, again to give another arterial way for people to get from the other side of the river back and forth across from one development to the other. The space that occurs between here and the Cooey building will be a 3-story. This is the theater. This is one of the new portions of the new construction. The Sanders building is scheduled for retail. We don't have a whole lot envisioned other than general retail. And then where the metal addition is on the side there, we'll take that down, and the sporting goods store will sister into the side of that and kind of come around here and will be built out in that general direction. And so this area back in here will be gated off. We'll gate off. It's a deal we have to do with the railroad. We'll put a fence in here and we'll put a gate so that this little area back here basically becomes a service corridor. We've got another service corridor back there. So in essence, the only way to get to the plaza on the inside is to come through certain portal entrance locations. The entire open space out here is closed off either by walls or buildings, so that if vendors have different carts and different things stored out here, that at night, that after all the people are gone and the lights are turned off and the last gate is locked, that things that are out here in the courtyard are protected and people can't get to them.
Do they park inside or do they park somewhere else in the
All the parking between the two Duran buildings is a designated large parking area, and then everything that's basically on the other side over in there all becomes parking. So in a nutshell, that's basically it. Again, behind you we've got the Goose Gossage Restaurant Blue Pub. We're going to revitalize that. That's an extremely unique building, and we see a lot of opportunity for that. We haven't gotten into the design of it, but it certainly it has a lot of great character. And we'll be taking, you know, that we do want to take some of these windows and open them down and try to invite some of that activity out here into the plaza. So we'll have some restaurant dining that will carry from the outside into the inside.
What about the training facility?
Well, the training facility happens in two spots. So this big area in here is just basically a large green space that's being done for training of the kids. It's not a legitimate ball diamond. We've got ball diamonds that are across the river that the city has. So we're trying to separate those issues so that we're not taking away from where it already exists. So this is where Goose Gossage can come in and do training camps out here with pitching and whatnot. One of the three theater spaces will also be multi-use designed to act as an auditorium. So if it happens on a bad day, we've got a place inside if the kids can't be outside, so that he can also speak, whether he's speaking or actually training in some other capacity that we have. Again, a space that has more than one use, and that was one of the goals. We're trying to find activities that stay open, you know, till 9 or midnight at night. The theater stays open. We've got the daytime activities. We're really trying to find a way to have this thing as a hub. So, you know, besides just the normal 9 to 5 type of deal, we're trying to get those extended hours by having different activities happening in the evening.
Howard, the project that you were talking about with the fishing, and is there going to be other recreational type things like kayaking, tubing, or whatever? Are you trying to make that a centralized?
That already goes on now, as you know, whenever there's water flow. So that's kind of been a natural thing that's developed. As far as designated kayaking, you're saying no. The flows we have, you know, are generate some opportunity for that, but it's mostly going to be river floats, walks, fishing, that type of thing.
Bruce, is everything's on this side of the tracks?
Correct.
Is the track still being used?
Will that
Absolutely.
be parking over there too?
No, the tracks.
Amtrak.
Yeah, the tracks are still being used. They are used. The fate of Amtrak is still in the air, from what we understand. We have to put a fence to protect all of the activities. Basically, along the outside edge of this building is our property line. When we purchased all this, it was purchased from the railroad company, and it was replatted. So we have an agreement to provide certain safety and security devices. So basically, nothing on the other side of this building will be incorporated into the plan, other than we're hoping that if Amtrak sticks around, that this could really become a destination hub for the people traveling from east to west coast that are going. And apparently there's something going on between whether that's going to happen in here or La Hunt. I'm not sure what's going on with the Amtrak, but we're certainly hoping whatever we do here can attract and make that decision a viable option here for Trinidad.
Michelle, one thing I might add too, you know, with access to the river here, Eventually, our plan is to have a bike trail that goes from downtown Trinidad all the way up to Trinidad Lake State Park, all the way up the river. So biking is one of the things we're looking at as a community effort to include mountain biking, road biking, just touring around the area. So just one of the things we've got out there that would lend itself very well to this area right here. Start as a kind of a starting point.
Well, the city, I don't want to steal from Bernadette, but the city has plans and seeking a grant right now with DOLA, I believe, Bernadette, to tie. We have a large matrix of trails here, and what this grant will do is allow us to connect the trails. But there's 51 miles of trail within, I'd say, what, a 5 or 6 mile radius of Trinidad. And one of the things that's happening is that Evelyn from Crazy French Ranch along Fisher's Peak is opening that up so that we will be able to hike up to the top of Fisher's Peak, which is another tourist attraction. So, you know, we've got the trails, the hiking trails, the biking trails, the river walk, and all that. And guess what? They can all converge right.
Start right here.
Wow, that's great. Bruce, on the when you said about Amtrak, are you presenting the plans for the projects to Amtrak to keep the business here?
I'm not, but there's different portions. There's a lot of entities, a lot of moving pieces with this. Some other folks involved in the project are having communications with the
You know, the Amtrak multimodal train depot is just right across the road there. And they've just built that. So one of the visions for down here was, you know, not only Amtrak, but bus and everything else to make it a centralized transportation hub. So that's another thing that this would tie into very easily.
Well, we still don't know what the future of Amtrak is.
No, it's never going anywhere. It's like the post office.
Well, I hope so.
They just whine a little bit and they get some more money.
Well, I think that's all I have. If there's any other questions, feel free to answer them. Otherwise, thank you for coming out.
Thank you all for coming.
Beautiful day.
Thank you. Yes.
Eddie? Okay.
Yeah, see you in the morning.
Carol told me the other night.
But I learned that there's really a problem. People come out there and you're probably not going to find a place to park, and you're probably going to have to find a way out the elevator, up the steps, and get there early, or you will be late. Whether you intend to be late. That's true.
And he's always told me it's 15, 20 minutes early to work.
Yeah, you did have to go. What the heck is she doing here?
Well, I'm gonna go.
Yes. A long day. I mean, tomorrow afternoon.
This is an easy.
But are they antique? I mean, there's really nothing other than that change on the ordinance. And it's pieces. And I don't think we've got
I'm Anthony.
Okay, I'm on
I am one. Yeah, we were sitting behind you. Yes, we were there. My wife. Oh, it's a huge family. Yeah.